Today, May 4th, Star Wars Day, The Bad Batch debuted on Disney+. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Let me know your take on the premiere episode of The Bad Batch. To give you a little bit of background, I have watched all of the Clone Wars, but the first time I watched through it was several years back, and I've rewatched a lot of episodes here and there with my son, but I haven't watched through the whole show literally in like 7 years or something like that. And while I appreciated it, I'm not someone that was ever like a fanatic. I know a lot of you absolutely love the Clone Wars TV show. That's just not me. I felt it got better and better as it went along. The first 2 seasons in particular just felt very much episodic, simplistic stories about going to rescue some people, someone got left behind, this place is in danger. And then as it went along, it started doing kind of more longer story arcs that tied into the movies, fleshed out what was going on with the clones, Anakin, and a bunch of other plot lines that got more mature, to the point that season 7 had some really good plot lines that I actually got invested in. And then they announced they're going to take one of those plot lines, give it its own spin-off, The Bad Batch. That leads us to today, and just kind of wanted to share my thoughts on it. I felt that perspective on where I'm coming from is pretty important. If you haven't watched the Clone Wars, you probably should check out a few specific story arcs before you jump into this show. In particular, the first 4-episode arc of season 7 is about the Bad Batch, who they are, one person joining in. Probably want to watch that before you start watching this show, as this is very much a continuation of the Clone Wars and following them, and you can see it changing even throughout the 70-minute premiere, from very much like an episode of the Clone Wars to being its own thing by the end. But as you're watching it, it assumes you have a lot of knowledge about the Bad Batch, as well as a bunch of characters that showed up throughout the Clone Wars series. They mention events, and those are episodes of the show, and it explains what they are, but you know as you're watching it, you're missing out if you haven't watched that stuff before. With all that said, what did I think about the Bad Batch? And I thought it was a very solid continuation of what they were doing with season 7, which is to say, kind of that more mature storytelling with arcs that tie into the grander lore of Star Wars in interesting ways. This very much shows you how we transition from the clones, the Republic, to the Empire from their perspective. Like, what was the perspective of clones as all of this is happening? And that's just interesting to see that take place. And you see kind of the tension amongst their ranks. It's not just going full-blown kiddie with everything that they were doing with it. I appreciated that about it. And then in the premiere, there's multiple little cameos of familiar faces. And just a nice little touch. This is a lived-in universe. These characters are out there. It would make sense that some of them would make appearances. And so you just see these characters showing up throughout the little adventures that they're on. Likewise, while there is plenty of action, it balances with a good bit of story and character moments. The central focus isn't just having a 70-minute action sequence. It's to show you how the Bad Batch is responding to this scenario that they're in, and establish them on this journey that they'll be on throughout the course of the show. And so you're just seeing how different members of the team respond differently to the events in light of various different things and their different thoughts. And I guess the comparison of what it looks like they're setting up is kind of an A-team type scenario of this group of outcast soldier guys trying to help people out in the world while on the run at the same time, which it's a fun little thing to do inside of the universe of Star Wars. The plot line I never would have guessed that I wanted, but then as I say it out loud, I go, that's kind of fun and interesting. There is this little girl character, Omega, that I think the verdict's still out on whether this is a good idea or a bad idea. Inherently, anytime you have a show that's kind of aimed at younger ages, they tend to like to put some cute character, a droid, a child character in there that younger audiences can connect with a little bit more than a group of clones that appear to be 30, 40 years old. They'd like to put something cuter, something younger in there. That's what this character feels like. And so she's not full-blown annoying, but at the same time, it's a scenario where it's like, let's go on all these missions and have a child there too. And I can see where that could interfere with some of the elements that are a little bit more interesting to me. But just in general, for kicking off a show, establish some mysteries that I'm curious about some of the stuff with Kishino and what was going on, and there's questions raised that I'm interested in getting an answer to. It sets up several different plot lines that I'm like, I wonder what happened to that person. I wonder if they're going to reappear. I wonder who else might show up on the adventure that we're on throughout this season or all of the upcoming seasons. So as someone that's not like a big Clone Wars fanatic, I dug this little kickoff, especially having a son that loves the Clone Wars and any character with a helmet, a jetpack, and a ray gun, he's on board. And for the last, or I guess since season 2 of The Mandalorian kicked off, we've had kind of like a Friday morning routine where we wake up early to watch Mandalorian, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Mighty Ducks Game Changers. So adding a new one to the list of waking up to check out the new episode of the Clone Wars is something I'm going to look forward to doing. It's really fun to be able to have something I can watch with him and not be nervous that I'm showing him something probably a little bit too mature for him. In the case of Clone Wars, or the Bad Batch as this is, he is the perfect age for it. And I dig the way they're going with the storytelling thus far. Let me know what you thought down below in the comment section. I don't know if I'll do week-to-week, episode-by-episode reviews of it. Kind of depends if there's interest and if I feel like I have something to say. Let me know your thoughts down below of what you would like me to do. I definitely have plans to do some coverage with my son on my second channel, and that's where I can share my thoughts even if I don't do it on the main channel. Keep talking movies and TV too much.